Ooh. I have everything, I think. If you can talk for me, guys. Someone say something. It would be hilarious if you said anything other than something. Damn it.
Shut the fuck. Leave me to it.
Potato.
1 second. Let me reactivate my camera because that wasn't turned on for some reason. There we go. It's time for session 3. We have so far had your first day getting to know as many people as possible. We had our first combat practice, which you guys won. There were some hairy moments, but I think the initial play by Adhira and my mistake and your mistake on the stunning strike obviously worked out in your guys' favor there at the beginning, but we know that going forward. I mean, I knew that beforehand, but I'll remember to keep my brain in gear a little bit more. So yeah, I mean, stunning strikes aside, it was a closely fought fight, and you guys did eventually come out on top, leveraging some numbers. Casper and Andrus most certainly putting up a wall that I think was very stubborn to bring down, I would say. And then you guys went about your clubs, you met some more students of the school, joined some clubs, did some cooking, we've got some sourdough starter going, and you were told that today you will be fighting your first miasmic monster as a class, a Ceratosaurus, a sort of metallic mixture between a dinosaur and a mantid with multiple limbs and a big heavy tail that likes to stand up very tall, as Samara pointed out, the kids of the region that she comes from call them tall boys, or the tall ones. Right now, all of you are aslumber. It is the wee hours of the morning. It's about 3, maybe 4 a.m. Most of you dream normally. Most of you have non-interesting dreams. Perhaps it is of your classes, perhaps it is of the places you come from, but Adhira, your dreams are different. They don't feel... How do I put it? It's the difference between a lucid dream and a hallucination. This kind of feeling that while, yes, what I'm viewing is going on in my mind, it is not perhaps the product of my imagination. You see a coastal scene, a bright, verdant coast with, it looks like little shrubberies that sort of grow on a highland coast where the terrain isn't exactly perfect for plant life to thrive on, and it's sort of forcing its way up through the cracks in rock and dirt and other more like pebble-like substance along the side. In the distance, it is either sunrise or sunset, you can't tell, but there is an amber globe on the horizon that is giving backlighting to a field of human-like figures. You see only their outlines, their sort of shadowy shapes. Some of them bear wings upon their back. Others do not. Some of them do not stand on legs, but simply seem to be torsos and arms and heads, and they hover off the ground, a sort of haze, a mirage of heat whirling beneath them in order to keep them aloft. There are perhaps 1,000, maybe more of these figures. And as you look at them, you get the image that, human-like as they may be with all their myriad features, some of them are much taller in stature than your average human. Some of them stand 9, 10, 15 foot tall. But in the very center of all of these tall, powerful figures is a single slight figure. One seemingly sat on their knees, perhaps, and you can't quite make out their features, but you can tell that they're wearing something quite long and flowing, perhaps a cloak, perhaps a robe, but it's mostly covering up their form. You can just see this billowing shape much, much smaller than every other shape around it. And all of these large beings seem to be circled around the central figure, all of them looking to them. Every shape arrayed in front of you as if she fell from the heavens like a meteor, hit, and then they all scattered out from them. The sound of the voice reaches you. Her accent is familiar. Her language is yours, Adhira. This is a language that you've grown up speaking. Her voice is quiet, but it carries in the strange silence of the environment. The only real backdrop noise is the sea and the occasional squawk of gulls. She's saying a few different things, Adhira, but it is difficult for you to make out exactly what. My question is, in all these myriad things I've described to you, what are you paying attention to? Is it where you are, the figures that are arrayed around the central figure, the figure, what they're trying to say? What is it that pulls Adhira's attention?
I think amongst the inhuman and unfamiliar, she tries to gain a grasp on what is being said, some anchor point in these words of her mother tongue.
Yeah, give me a perception check. The language is old, Adhira. It's filled with embellishments and affectations that people have long discarded in favor of easiness. There are certain verbs and phrases that she says that mean something to you but seem a little out of context. But there is one question that sits at the center of everything she says. Why is it that each of you arrayed here why have you come here, and why do you fight? And as that question reaches you and you sort of fully process it, you see a shudder amongst the crowd, not of the individual that a shiver runs down their spine or a sort of fear emanation from it. No, it's a shudder on a collective level, a murmur of looks, a shockwave of, if not realization, then perhaps for the first time understanding that that question is askable. And it is at that point you wake up. It is early in the morning for everyone right now. Your morning routines in full swing. Unlike yesterday, you can hear activity out already. The other second years, they're already up and about. It is their combat practice day this morning as well, and you can hear them either eating breakfast, having conversations, or sat around chatting, doing whatever prep they need to for their combat practice today. Does anyone have anything particular they'd like to do this morning?
I'm going to swap a crystal out, if that's fine.
Yeah, you head to the workshop and swap one of your crystals.
Yeah, I'm probably doing the same.
Yeah. So the two of you head out towards the workshop, open pretty much 24/7, would already be open. A myriad of workshop students probably already working on projects this morning as well as you head in. Is there anything in particular you're swapping? Just so that I know, I'd be interested. Obviously you need a moment to look, you can answer me in a bit as well. But
That would be telling. I'm grabbing Hex.
Hex, good.
Hex is one of the things I'm getting rid of.
Oh, interesting.
I found that I struggled to find time to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much stuff I can do with my bonus actions.
True.
So it was a little bit rough.
You just gotta make a setup round.
I could do. So I'll be changing it out for something.
Yeah, not a problem. Anyone else that morning?
I imagine that Dave. Okay.
Probably getting breakfast.
Okay, yeah, you're set at the breakfast bar. Give me a quick perception check when you head out to have breakfast, Caliban.
Let me just perception. Right here.
Caliban, you're sat at the bar, like at the breakfast bar. You have your breakfast in front of you. You look down, you start eating something. When you look back up, something about your environment has changed. You're like one of those weird spot the difference pictures. You like look up around you and you're like, something's different. And then I guess the question is, do you not care in that moment, or how does Caliban respond to like not really being able to put that together? Like something's
What
different.
do I notice what do I notice that's am I able to see what's different, or do I just...
As you look around, you're like, no, can't quite figure it out. Like you just sort of like you just got this vague feeling in your head, like in something on the breakfast bar has moved. Maybe you're like, my food bowl's still my food bowl, so that's great. Like, but something is weird.
Is there something up with the food bowl? Is it a normal food bowl?
So yeah, I guess Caliban, you spend the rest of your breakfast like making sure your food bowl's okay. It is, by the way, but but yeah.
All right.
Anyone else as Caliban inspects their bowl?
I imagine Dafer would have already been out for a fair bit, given like go to sleep early, wake up early. He would have definitely made a trip to the medical wing if they're already open. If they're not, he would have tried to like, do some kind of potential like light training exercise or retracing some of the moves he did yesterday during sparring, or like to better
heading to the medical wing. Yeah, there would be staff there at the moment. Were you looking for patching up after your combat practice? Is that what we're sort of...
Yes, I would essentially ask if there's anything they can do. My aura is still, or my shell is still pretty low.
You guys have 3 hit dice at the moment, yeah?
That is correct.
They are able to give you 13 points because I rolled really well. As they will look over you, tend to any sort of wounds that you do have, and anything else they supply you with certain tinctures, medications, and otherwise too. And they tell you to eat a really big breakfast this morning because that's going to have a huge drain on your metabolism.
Okay. Having noted that, I basically already pack out like some of the beef jerky that I likely have around and make my way to the breakfast bar to essentially eat 3 breakfasts.
Give me a perception check, Dafer.
Okay. Perception. I'm not terrible at this stuff.
You notice, having had breakfast a couple of times now, although technically you head out quite early the day before. When you first got here, people were sat in certain places. So you had Tamara and Noctis sat opposite each other, playing chess, and also Seth was there looking over their shoulder. Those people are still in those spots. You notice that Seth is looking rather perplexed right now. As he looks around, he's like checking under pillows and stuff, looking for something. And as he does that, you watch Tamara roll up the newspaper and very subtly sort of stuff it in her bag, hiding it from him.
Good morning, ladies. Good morning, gentlemen. Everything all right, sir?
Tamara sort of snapped out of wherever her mind was for a second, sort of startled by your words, goes into a, good morning, Dafer. First, well, I was going to say first combat practice for you, but I suppose it's technically your second.
Yeah, sure. You seemed like you were looking for something. Everything all right? Lost some contact lenses or something?
Seth turns and shakes his head and says, "No, I swear, I have the newspaper delivered every morning. I like to just keep up to date on things, but for whatever reason, it's gone missing this morning." Noctis looks at him and says, "Maybe Axel took it. He sometimes comes into the dorm early in the morning."
Why do you have the newspaper delivered?
Seth looks at you and just says, "I know that some of it's, all fluff or whatever you want to call it, but I like to keep my eye on the news, see what's going on further afield. The newspaper is one of the few ways I can do that, at least more condensed."
Do your teammates share your enthusiasm?
Tamara shrugs and says, "We get a lot of news through classes, but hey, I'm sure the requisition office will have some later, Seth. We'll look at it after practice."
Is Tamara sitting on the side where I am standing, or is she like on the other side of the table?
Technically, you would be over her right shoulder, and then Noctis would be sat on a seat facing you, and Seth sort of stood up near like a sofa, a little bits away from these two, and is was looking for this missing documentation, as it were.
Okay. In that case, I put one hand on the chair that Tamara is sitting on, so that my fingers can tap on her shoulder, the other on the table, just leaning forward, like you would somewhat if you wanted to conspiratorially chat with the people there.
Yeah.
I was like, "So you know that this is our class's first time fighting one of these miasmic monsters. Have any of you ever fought a Ceratosaurus before? Any advice?" And while I do that, I tap. I try to tap in a manner on Tamara's shoulders that makes it obvious that I have questions, or that indicates I've seen her, or some kind of hey notification.
Tamara looks at you, catches the way your eyes drift from your question to her bag where she put the newspaper, and she can tell by the look on your face that it's maybe not quite about what you're saying. She says, yeah, we've definitely fought them. They can operate in packs sometimes, and sometimes when the border crews, when the marquee crews go out, they miss a couple every now and then. So sometimes when you're doing what they call mop-up patrol, you'll come across them. She then leans in and whispers to you and says, "I know what this looks like, but trust me, I'll tell you more later."
I nod.
She just says, "It's not a joke. I'm just trying to keep his head in the right place this morning."
Are they the type that is easily baited in one manner or another? I tend to be that tends to be my role, or one I tend to delegate myself to if possible. So just wondering if that is a viable strategy.
She'll keep continuing the conversation and just sort of say that, yeah, they're pretty single-minded. They'll mostly go for whatever's in front of them. They can be very dangerous, so do rely on Axel as much as you can as well, because he should be assisting you in the fight.
Okay, good to know. Alright. In that case...
Dave, I assume heading back for breakfast, yeah? Finishing your breakfast off this
Yeah,
morning.
and wishing Noctis good luck with the next chess game that he has against Tamara, I assume this evening.
He just gives you a pained sort of expression and a smile, like yes. Understood. Anyone else that morning?
I would probably stumble out of my room eventually. Just a tiny bit.
Sorry, Capri. Your microphone's coming through a little quieter for me right now. Is everyone else having trouble hearing?
Oh, it's very quiet.
Let me see. It's
That's-
coming through.
That's definitely better now. Yes,
How about
perfect.
now? Are you still hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, and it's much
Okay.
better. Thank you.
It's just the one on the side of my headset was tilted away. Adhere would probably stumble out of her room, slightly, I don't want to say disheveled, more like something on her mind, not really putting a whole lot of thought into it. Moves through the kitchen, gets herself like some orange juice, just absent-mindedly drinking it. We'll probably rejoin the others eventually.
Okay. Time progresses. I think that's everyone, right? So 2 people went to get crystals, and then they're gonna come back afterwards, have some breakfast, I assume. Time progresses. You know that you're supposed to be meeting Axel at there is a warehouse-like hangar. It's a little bit across campus, sort of more towards the center of campus in the southern section. So like, it's sort of a weird diagonal from where you guys are. Maybe 15, like 10-minute walk at most, I would say. But that is where you are supposed to meet your instructor. I don't know whether you wanted to head there early or whether you just try and get there exactly on time, or if there is anything else you'd like to do that morning before you go.
I'll get there early.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go
essentially,
straight there after breakfast, I think.
Okay.
Same here. I'd do warm-ups essentially once there.
So, first time you guys have ever really been in this space. Heading in, it's a pretty big structure. There are 3 train lines in here. At present, only 1 train is parked here. It's an interesting mix between the more commercial trains that you've seen so far, which are kind of blocky, kind of metallic, older models which are sold off to like the mercantile class to allow people to move. This one is maybe like a generation ahead. It's got a sort of insectoid carapace, but still metallic sort of look to it. A mixture between Art Deco and biological in the same heartbeat. It has maybe 10 to 12 carriages arrayed at the back. You can see that there's space here for 3 of these trains, but only 1 in. You also see that there are vehicles stored here as well. A mixture of like old-timey cars, but without the hand crank. Instead, they've got these weird sort of Magitech over-engineered designs to them. They're very clunky looking, but the wheels on them are like dune buggy wheels. It looks like an antique car kind of crossed with a monster truck sort of wheel set. Like, they're big, heavy vehicles. And they're parked off to one side. You can see some workshop students in here and some more adult engineers as well that seem to be looking after the train engine at present. What eventually draws your attention is your teacher. He is leaning up against what appears to be like a railed-in space with a crossbar to close off, and then a metallic platform and a set of levers to the left-hand side of him. And he's idly leaning against the lever control panel. At present, he has a copy of the newspaper open in front of him, which he is reading.
Having been made curious this morning by Tamara hiding this from Seth, I walk up to him and ask, "Hello, what's the big news today?"
He closes the page he's on and then folds it and then holds it up to you. In front of you, you see the headline, Scarlet Hawkmoth strikes again. Second EK death this month.
If I like very quickly glance over it and like try to like go over it again in my mind with keen mind, does it have any mention of the victim? Do they sound like they have the last name Cole or could be related to him?
No. The piece is about the Council of Judges recalling certain S-Class EKs. S-Class rank 2, 5, and 7 are to be sent specifically out after the Scarlet Hawkmoth. It states that the Divergent monster was created, it's believed, in a conflict between an old A-rank EK, now presumed dead, called Bright Dawn, and has taken on many of the fighting styles and abilities of this A-rank EK. It does also state that this brings the total death toll caused by this miasmic monster to 24 EKs and over 10 student EKs as well in the last year and a half.
Just in the last year and a half.
Last year and a half, yeah.
Okay, I can already guess what this is about for Seth. So I actually, if in my recollection, did Seth in my vicinity ever talk about losing family or anyone he might be close to?
No, I don't think he's ever brought it up. I think the only time he's brought up losing someone was to Clara in the art room last session. I think that's the only time.
Okay. In that case, but like I have an assumption, but no confirming information. All right. Okay. Okay. Well, that's grim. Does it say where it is in the newspaper or where that happened? Near us, or our destination?
It doesn't, and you can see the Axel folded the paper in a way that cut that off.
I assume I noticed this, specifically.
Yeah. It has the last attack was noticed in the area of, and then the newspaper's folded like pretty much at that line break.
Are students I ask him this directly? Are students prone to go after this Scarlet Hawkmoth?
There have been some cases of individuals trying to sneak out of the city in order to confront such a thing, yes.
Huh. Okay. Any advice if we encounter it?
Same thing I'd do. Run.
Not.
Everyone has their job out there. This is what S-Class is for.
Okay.
Best not to worry yourself over it too much, but just be aware that such things out there do exist. Always know that it's dangerous, okay? But that's why you're here.
Okay.
Looks at you as a class and says, I was impressed by you yesterday. I'm hoping to continue that today. I've noticed the beginnings of some rudimentary teamwork between you all, but we need to find a way to capitalize on that today. He gestures for you all to kind of stand on the platform, and at that point he pulls a lever, and it begins to descend below the school, going down for about maybe 30 seconds or so. You're perhaps 1,000 foot below ground, or something like that, at which point you come across a big double set of metallic doors. As you're heading down, he will explain, a friend of mine is on mop-up duty at the moment. I had her grab us something yesterday, which is the Ceratosaurus. It is as fresh from the wild as we get them here. We store any miasmic monster that is being temporarily held for training or study purposes down below the academy. In order to access this, you will need to be with a member of staff, such as myself. And he takes a card quite similar to yours and puts it up against a little crystal pad, and you hear the locking mechanisms go, and it opens up into a long corridor. There are heavily reinforced like metal walls on either side, and then several little offshoot chambers that you can notice as well. There are a few different individuals down here. Some of them look to be more security based, and some of them look to be more researchers. A few of them nod at Axel as he leads you through the corridors. He says, some people refer to this as the arena, others the hive, the menagerie. I like to call it the underground training center because I'm simple. You can call it what you want, but while you're down here, it is best to be as careful as you would be outside of the city. Leads you into a little offshoot antechamber, which is it's got a hole in the floor for letting things out, and then the door behind you is sealed and locked. Turns to look at you as a group and says, I'll be drawing this thing's attention as much as possible on me. It is heavily armored. It is aggressive. What I want you all to focus on is tearing down its defenses, working out how to create an opening, and then how to capitalize on that opening for each other. How to give each other a chance to move in during each other's strikes in order to work together. Do you have any questions for me before I signal to release this thing?
How much is it capable to deduce that if anything is done to it, what is responsible for it? I have done various tweaking to my shell, and some of the effects I'm not sure I can turn off.
I think this is something you're just going to have to learn as you're out there. Pay attention to it, see how it reacts to things, and if you have something that is more harmful than helpful, back away and let your teammates handle it.
I nod.
Are we allowed to do anything before you call it out?
Well, you might not always have such a opportunity in the field, but at the same time, this is your first time against such a creature. So, if you want to, yes, go ahead.
Okay. Clara's gonna hold one hand out to Dafer and to Uther. Can I borrow your hands for a minute?
I'll need it back.
I'm not going to disattach it to your body, I
You're
think.
smart.
Here. You feel kind of a brisk cold, almost like putting your hand in cool water. I'm going to activate my emboldening bond feature between those two. So you get basically the effect of Bless as long as you stay within 30 feet of each other. You guys are likely going to be up front, so you probably need this more than any of the rest of us.
Alright.
Okay, then.
I pat Uther on the back. Looking forward to working with you.
Oh yeah, you'll be a grand shield to hide behind, and I just kind of nudging with my elbow.
It'll be fine.
Feel free to add yourselves to the screen in order to sort of get a feel for where you are in relation to each other.
I'm not sure. Oh god.
Oh, God.
And the creature will be emerging from the front here, so like near the top.
Are all of our spells
Actually,
back?
yeah, this makes more sense.
The short rest ones would be. The long rest ones would not be unless you've changed like crystals or something like that.
I have taken no long rest ones.
Okay, then yes, yeah, all your short rest crystals are back.
Alright.
Everyone go ahead and roll initiative.
Ooh.
I am surprisingly nimble.
Zoom.
Is that everyone rolled? I think so. After Axel answers questions and Clara puts that link between Uther and Dafer, he raises his hand and waves, and you see there's like a small glass window with someone behind it. You can sort of just see the outline of them, at which point you hear a rumbling from in front of you, possibly tracks or maybe like some sort of trolley system, at which point the opening irises, it's about 20 foot in diameter, and then all of a sudden kind of hopping out of the hole is this creature, metal and chitinous, with these big pincers, or not pincers, more like scything blade arms, sharp teeth, long tail comes emerging out. Give me 1 second. Uther, you have the initiative as this creature emerges. What would you like to do?
I think I am first going to go ahead and cast Hex on it.
Yeah, disadvantage on what kind of checks?
That is what I'm trying to decide. I would assume strength is what we want this thing to be bad at. Yeah. Does anyone have
Maybe?
any,
Very good.
or does anyone have just make that
It's
public?
checks.
Yeah, strength,
so
strength sounds good.
Yeah, it's checks rather than saves.
Alright, then yeah, strength.
Your magic pulses out across the surface of the creature. You do see its movements become a little bit more sluggish, a little less just speedy or otherwise forceful as the effect of the spell ripples across the surface of it. Anything else on your turn, Uther?
I'm going to move up, but I'm going to stay out of its range.
So like moving up to the side of it, basically.
Yeah, and dodge action.
Taking the dodge action. Very good. Clara.
okay. Do I know anything? Like, I know roughly what these things do. In terms of, like, knowing what it might be weak to, do I have any information that I can dig from the back of my mind?
Yeah, give me an animal handling check.
Sure. Animal handling is up here. 26.
you know that obviously when it lowers its tail, it does this sweeping attack. You're also aware that if it either like loses its tail or is on really unfortunate uneven ground, if it falls over, it can struggle to get back up sometimes. Not, you know, as bad as like a tortoise, but it definitely struggles to right itself when it's knocked over. You also know that it is completely impervious to fire. I think that's the only other thing I will say, is you know that people have tried to ward it off with like torches or flaming arrows and things like that in the past, and it does not care.
Fair enough. I'm gonna communicate this in the only way I know how, in the middle of a battle, shouting loudly. Guys, we should try and knock it over. I don't think it can get back up. Oh, but don't hit it with fire. I think I'm gonna come over here, play it here a little bit. I'm gonna try and take a shot at it.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, if I keep saying take a shot as if I'm an archer, which I'm not. I don't know why I keep saying that. I'm gonna miss though either way.
Yeah, fire. The bullet goes off, and just heavy plating bullet deflects off of its surface of its body.
It'll be me.
It is going to run for the nearest target, which is Caliban.
Let's go. If I didn't ask for this, I wouldn't have been at the front.
It will swing a serrated limb at you. 26 would hit. Axel is going to use their reaction. You watch as their hexagonal staff, they twist it. The bottom section comes open. There's a kind of complex fishing wire spool system. Swings it out towards you, Caliban, drags you back, and swaps positions with you.
Oh, cool.
Wait, what?
It needs you to move over to where he is.
Okay. What? That wasn't even a damaging thing?
No. Axel used his reaction to swap with you before the attack hits.
Ah.
So if you move down that way for me.
Hold on. Okay, just right, like over here.
Yeah, perfect. And then I'm here now. That attack will hit Axel for 8 damage. Slashes across the surface of the shell. And then the creature has 2 more attacks in it, and it will continue to unleash those. 24 hits, 14 misses, another 10 damage as that impacts the shell. Dafer, your turn, Dafer.
Okay. Being that, having heard the advice from Clara, being knocking it over, I try to set up something. My goal would be to hit its feet, essentially, to make it easier to knock over, because I don't think we can do that right now. It looks, I think it looks a lot stronger and sturdier than I do.
Yeah.
So knocking it over seems like a very tall ask. So I want to prepare something for that. So does it ankles or any part of its foot look particularly vulnerable? So
yeah, it's got those like reverse. Is it reverse digigrade? I think that's what it's called. Mm-hmm. Where it kind of goes back. You see, perhaps that would be the weak point where the leg rebends back like that.
Okay. In that case, I would first use my bonus action to enter a rage, because after having seen roughly how rough its hits are, I no longer respect it. And then I, as my action, I'm essentially jumping both feet forward, trying to crash into into the part where the joints merge.
Okay. Is it is that like an attack action, or is it an athletics like modified push it over sort of thing, or what's the?
No, I'm not yet trying to push it over, because I think right now this is a wasted attempt, because it feels to me like it's not looking like this.
So you're trying.
Happen.
It's technically the help action. You're setting up someone else basically. Yeah. Like okay, cool. Yeah. Go ahead and move in closer as you dive in, bring both feet towards, and slam into its legs.
Actually, no. In that case, because I know I am the best person to topple it over.
Mm-hmm.
Fairly certain. In that case, I would like to prepare an action.
Okay.
To crash it over. Like, make me an opening! I just yell.
Okay, so you're gonna run in and put yourself in a position to shove it when someone else can create an opening for you.
Yeah. And I am raged, so that grants me advantage on those.
Alright, you get in close.
Yeah.
Axel will say, essentially, I've got its attention, keep going. Caliban. Yeah,
Let's
Rich.
see. Just trying to survey everything.
Mhm.
Well, there's not much I can do in the way of like anything extraneous or extraordinary. So best I can do is just like going over and like taking a hit.
Yeah, go ahead. Try and take a swing at it.
Actually, bonus action like transform weapon, turn Noble Subliege into a gun. Maybe take a pot shot from a distance.
Yeah, go for it. Trying to take a shot from range.
Like less of a damaging strike and more like testing the waters.
Yeah, go for it. Take a shot. 15 is one under what you would require. It just barely scrapes across the surface of the armor. You can see it's pretty heavy plating Caliban, but not impossible to break through.
Do I now know it's now one below?
Yeah, you know that if you'd aim just right, if you get that shot just a little bit tighter, it would have gone through.
Okay. In that case, that'll be the end for me.
Okay. Adhera.
Adhera is going to run over. Run over to here.
Sorry, Capri, your mic dipped again for me.
How about now?
Yeah, much better.
She's gonna run over there, and she is going to fish one of her level 1 spells out of her pocket and cast Thunderous Smite as a bonus action upon her weapon, dealing a thrum of energies in the blade, and she is going to toss it at the Scythosaurus.
Yeah, go for it.
Miss.
8. As your attack goes out, you watch as you cast the spell. It seems to notice its eye moves towards that surge of magical energy, and it swings its tail around, knocks the weapon out of the air as it's kind of swinging towards it, which rebounds, and you catch it on the way back.
I take a step or so back and end my turn.
I believe, however, the Thunderous Smite is still on your weapon, right? You can keep,
Yeah,
cool.
until I hit.
Yeah,
I just
until
gotta keep
concentration
going.
ends. Uther.
I'm gonna dart in and try to get a hit on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am going to try to cleave at the tail.
I like to try and like chop it off, essentially, like hit it at one of the joints.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Excuse me while I die. Have I broken the curse from last session? No, I have not.
Big, heavy armored. As you bring the blade down, you notice that it has this ablative protection as well. And if you were to hit it in certain areas, it would pop some of the armor off. You notice it's got like multiple sections. Plus 1d4 wouldn't help in this case, but that is worth remembering. You do have the bless next to Dafer as well, Uther.
Oh.
Don't know if there's anything else you
want
want to do. Don't know if there's anything else you want to do on your turn.
1 second, let me eyeball my cutting actions real quick. Cutting action, disengage. Step back here. I'm going to mention the softer plates to Drafer as I slide back.
Clara. I guess you can see Dafer is ready to try and sort of slam themselves into it, but as of yet hasn't taken like an opening to do so. But yeah, Clara, your turn.
Which way is this thing facing currently?
It's technically facing down towards you guys, so its armor facings are facing towards you.
So it's like this way.
Yeah, you got it.
Cool.
Also means its face is facing towards you.
Yes. I'm trying to think how best placed I am to help you knock it over.
To try to distract it, like...
Yeah, are we doing cold shots? Is that a thing I can do?
I'd say so, yeah, go for it.
Cool, I'm gonna throw my chakram and hopefully try and hit it, or at least aim, like, for its forehead or something, so if it's gonna block me, it has to stretch up to do so.
Yeah, to bring its center of gravity higher?
Yeah, that's my hope.
Yeah, go for it. Take the shot.
22.
22 does hit. Would you like to deal damage, or would you like to reduce its damage reduction by 1? It's got 10 damage reduction at the moment.
I will reduce its damage reduction by 1.
Okay, so as it swings out and Uther calls out these sort of ablative plates, you watch as your blade hits against one of these plates, and it, like, almost chemical reaction inside the body detonates and bursts back, which leads it up onto its feet and also kind of leads it to topple slightly. Dafer, you had a prepared action. Would you like to use it?
Yes.
You have athletics at advantage, and due to the hex, it has athletics at disadvantage.
That is a 20.
Teamwork!
And that is a 16. Dafer, as you slam your shot... Oh, actually, how do you want to knock it over? Yeah.
Essentially what I prepared before. I am near it, so I'm taking the very short sprint up time, like a couple steps, and then just jump, both like anime style, both feet forward, hands behind me, and trying to crash with those feet into its like joint back there, and basically trying to go through it through sheer momentum.
Yeah, you slam into the joint, it buckles, drops to one side, falls prone. Dafer, would you like a teamwork point, or would you like to award it to another member of your team?
I would like to award that teamwork point to Atira.
Atira, you get the teamwork point. I think that gives you 2 now. I think that's the maximum you can hold, yeah? At this point, Axe will use the reaction to basically Atira. When you attack, you can expend a teamwork point to call any ally in to attack at the same moment as you. So you and that teammate can attack at the same time.
Okay.
And you'll sort of label how to, like, combine your strikes in that moment. But yeah, Clara, that was technically your turn, taking that shot, removing 1 point of armor, giving Dafer the in. Is there anything else you want to do on your turn?
Yeah, I'm gonna cunning action dash. I'm gonna go over here.
Excellent.
Try and spread us out a little bit.
On its turn, the Ceratosaurus will use half its movement to stand up. And it's also going to get into this low crouch down position. Its tail extended. Clara, you recognize that as the sort of the telltale sign. It's going to do a big sweeping strike in a big circle around it. Dafer, your turn.
Back up!
Is what I'm being shouted at.
Yes.
Okay. In that case, I would like to back up, but as I do so, I'm first giving the joint that I just crashed into, that I'm potentially still somewhat nearby, a probing kick, just to see if I can damage it anymore.
Yeah, go for the attack.
That is a kick with later. That would be a lightning laced kick. Just
Yeah,
to see
go
if it
for
does
it.
anything. It is prone, so is that a 22?
It did stand up on its turn, unfortunately, as it did have its turn just before you, Dafer. So your strike lances out. Lightning courses across the surface of its body, mostly directs it away from itself, unfortunately.
And then basically, as I back away, I'm gonna just a very roughly directed, because my aim is still not great. Basically, look away, gauntlet facing in the direction and shooting like a shockwave as I'm like at the 15 feet distance.
It will use a reaction as you back up as well to use an attack of opportunity to strike at you. 19.
Hits.
You will take 6 half to 3 with your overload.
Yes, that is correct.
And then your gauntlet strike as well. Go for it.
Yeah.
18 does connect. Would you like to deal damage or would you like to reduce its plating?
I'd like to have aimed. Oh, no. This is a pure luck shot. So by pure dumb luck, I'm hitting one of the areas that Uther pointed out earlier.
Okay. Slams into like kind of a rough area. Does jettison one of these plates. Its damage reduction is down to 8 now.
Mm-hmm. And that is my back and off.
Axel is going to... he's going to strike it in order to try and keep its attention because he's not been hitting it. Everyone else has. 12 would miss. 24 would hit. 8 damage. He's just going to let that get absorbed by the defense in order to just kind of whack it in the face and keep it looking at him. Caliban.
Seeing that it's how it reacts to having its like plates broken and stuff, Caliban is gonna take aim again, aiming for the same plate that he had shot at before.
Yes.
And just gonna fire off a shot.
Go for it. 9. Unfortunately, it's moving around a lot, Caliban. You're struggling to get a decent bead on it and take that shot and get the connection you're after.
God damn. Oh, well. That's all I can do.
Okay. Happy where you are as well, Caliban, yeah?
Let me just, I don't know, back a little.
Okay. Atira.
I am going to run past it up to here, try and get around its back. If that's too close, that would be an opportunity attack. I would spend a key point for it to disengage.
No, I think you could have run past without getting close to it, so...
Alright, I will make an attack with Compson.
Are you calling anyone in on the attack with the teamwork point?
Yes, I'll call in...
I'll
call in Clara.
Like I say, it'd have to be Clara, Caliban, or Dafer at this point. So yeah, Clara. You see in a moment's opening as Campson whirls past, it's distracted. You can take a shot here, Clara.
Cool, I'll hurl something down.
17 hits. What would you want to do? Reduce damage reduction or try and get some hit damage in?
For now, I'll just keep reducing the damage reduction.
You, in that moment, as it blocks Adhira's scythe, you manage to get another shot in. Another one of his plates bounces off, down to 7 damage reduction. Anything else in your turn, Adhira?
I'm going to use the remainder of my movement to get right here, and I will take... No, it should be good. That's my turn.
Uther.
It's already done the tail whip and it's back in its normal position.
It isn't. No, yeah, it's not come back round to its turn to do the tail whip yet.
Oh.
So you could strike and come back out, I suppose, but otherwise, if you stay in, you will be subject to that sweeping attack.
Unless I do something stupid.
Also true.
Unless you win.
What if I wanted to climb on the thing's back?
Yeah, you can make a contested athletics check to get on its back. It obviously can't tail sweep you there. And it does have disadvantage from your hex.
I might as well try.
Okay. Oof, I rolled insane. 25.
I literally have no chance of beating that.
What's your max? I suppose your.
Nope. Sam. Does it have disadvantage because I hit it earlier while I was in overload?
25 and 26 on the die. 25 is at disadvantage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So in that case, you still resist the damage.
Even if I crit, it would have only been a 22.
Unfortunately, yeah. As you try and get
Physically impossible.
Yeah, as you try and leap up towards it, you can see it's already in that spinning motion. If you take the jump, you'd be just jumping straight into the strike Uther as far as you can see.
Then I guess, assuming I haven't burnt an action, I'm going to just strike and get out of there.
Yeah, go for it.
What in the fuck? Sorry, someone just decided to start DMing me out of nowhere, and it forced,
Everything
the chat
aside.
up in my... Yeah, it forced everything aside for that. I'm going to actually kill this person. Probably shouldn't say that on YouTube. Whoops, did not think of that.
Look, it's only a credible threat if you make your attack roll.
Yeah. If you can land an attack, then it's technically a credible threat. It's true. Yeah, just under hitting. As you're trying to back away, Uther, you have to put more distance between you than that.
Cutting action, get out of there.
Yeah, absolutely. Clara.
Okay. Alright. Firstly, shuffle up another little bit. Now I have a side plate, which is great. My weapon has armor piercing on, or
Sure.
armor penetrating, I can't remember which one it is.
I think it's piercing, yeah.
Yeah. So... Yeah, I'm just going to take another attack. I don't really have anything else I want to do at the moment.
Yeah. 9. Even with the armor piercing, it just doesn't quite get through the side plate there.
I think... Yeah, I'm good back here.
It will use its spinning attack. Axel will give us a dexterity save at advantage. 13 does fail the save as it swings round. It will land for 6d6 damage.
Fuck.
23 points of damage. Whack into his side. It will then move in order to kind of get over to Dafer. Axel will use an attack of opportunity. 25 will hit, 15 damage, which will go through 7 points of ablation, and he has the Sentinel feat. Just slams the hexagonal staff between its legs and jams up its movement. Dafer, over to you.
Okay. Seeing this work out, am I reckless or am I not reckless? I am not wise. And I did have it attack me, and I basically came out of that by my measures pretty much unscratched. So I think I might be arrogant. I am going to get within 20 feet and do a reckless punch, like ranged punch. Essentially, like so, charge up the gauntlets again. Aim somewhere that a second spot that Uther pointed out.
Mm-hmm.
See if I can knock that down.
Yeah, go for it.
That is an attack with sooner. That's a 14. That misses.
14 does not go through now.
Okay, I am reckless, but I'm not that reckless. So for my bonus action, I think for now... Actually, no, I have 1d4 on that.
Oh yeah, plus 1d4.
16.
16 hits.
And...
blasting another plate off, yeah? Yeah, perfect. Goes down to 6 as another one of these plates flies off of the body. You're beginning to expose the more squishier parts of its armor, which is a strange phrasing, I suppose, but it is true in this case.
And as this hit gets applied, once again, it feels this strange urge to attack specifically me.
Yes,
or
is it
feel
disadvantage?
weakened attacking others.
Yeah, gotcha. Anything else?
And I am still like sticking roughly, like I'm going 10 feet back, trying to see if it like does the thing again where it tries to move towards me and Axel saves my ass.
Okay.
Okay.
Axel, on his turn, is just gonna swing a couple of times, see if he can't keep its attention a little bit more. He would technically stop at the 21 after that hits. So that is 6. So that's another 5 points of damage. No, 7. Okay. Caliban.
Seeing how things are starting to turn in favor, switching back to the sword, gonna run up and try to take a stab.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh.
17 connects as you zoom in. Do you want to try and deal damage to it? Okay, yeah, going for
Wait. Wait.
There's dealing damage, or you can try and chip away one of its plates to reduce its damage reduction. It reduces...
I'll deal damage.
Okay, so it takes 4 points of damage as you strike, but most of its armor sort of absorbs your strike at this point.
Okay. It's chip damage.
Yeah.
Oh well. That'll be the end of my turn.
Okay, just zooming in, getting the strike in. Atira.
She has that sort of unimpressed look with her accuracy, spins the scythe again, and tosses it once more.
Do you spending a teamwork point to call anyone in on this strike? Oh my god, the
Not yet.
7s.
I know, I'm going to run up, and I'm going to make a bonus action strike with just my leg.
Okay, running up and kicking him. 10 doesn't get through the armor. As you strike, it's a heavy blow, but it's skin on metal. There's that pain that radiates up from through your body. Probably the first time you've kicked something this hard before, Atira.
And I'm just gonna back up again.
Backing up. Would have an attack of opportunity, yeah, Atira.
Mobile.
You've got mobile. Perfect. Just double checking.
I
Uther.
will never suffer such a thing.
Wald, I don't know if you're muted.
Am I?
No, you're not. Is your turn though, Uther?
Oh, sorry.
That's right.
I have a glowing corner. I have a glowing number in the corner of my screen, and I'm just pondering why.
Yeah. What do you want to do?
I'm going to move in. I'm going to use the dodge action, and that'll have to be my turn.
Okay, just moving in, getting close, and keeping defensive. Clara.
I am not getting defensive. I am on the offense. Because I'm still on the side. Yeah, let's just take... I don't think there's anything I can do to boost these shots at the moment. No, not really. Let's keep going. 19.
19 does hit. It's down to 6 damage reduction at the moment. I don't know if you want to keep chipping that or whether you want to try and get a shot through.
I'm going to try and get a shot through because I have adjacent allies, so I do get
Yeah, you got
the
sneak on
bonus
it as well.
damage. So 18.
Reduced by 6 is 12 points of damage goes through. Pretty heavy hit. It is not yet bloodied with all of the sort of pressure that's been put on it. It is still moving fairly fresh.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's me. I don't need to move anywhere yet.
Okay. On its turn, it's going to make 3 strikes, one against each of the 3 adjacent creatures to it. I'll go clockwise from Uther around. At disadvantage. 12 would miss you, Uther.
Woo!
19 hits Axel. 13 Caliban.
Let's see. 13 doesn't hit me.
Does only manage to connect with Axel, who basically just presents his body to the strike in order to keep its attention on him, and scrapes across the shell barrier around him.
Can I riposte?
7 damage.
You can riposte.
That means okay. That means a attack as a reaction. Ah, fuck.
15 would miss, unfortunately, Caliban.
Damn.
It will also bonus action begin to lower its body in order for another spin. Dayfair.
Okay. I am going to attempt to topple it in order to see if I can disrupt that, maybe. Yeah, teamwork does the dream work, essentially. So, Daper is going to, as his action, I assume there's still, like, there's one foot, either the one he attacked already or the other one sticking out, whose ankle he can bite again, essentially, like, crash into.
Okay, so you're diving at the already weakened ankle. You won't have advantage on your athletics check, but it does have disadvantage on its.
Because some of the circumstances change.
Oh no, you've got your overload on, and I forgot how that works. So you would have advantage. My apologies.
Okay. Please, let's see if my sheet. Yes, my sheet's not opened. Athletics.
I rolled a 9. You dive in, once again slamming it to the ground. It falls prone. Who do you want to give your teamwork point? Either yourself or another member of your team.
I give the teamwork point to Clara.
Clara gets the point, can call in a strike with her. Dayfer, anything else on your turn? Obviously, you've come crashing into it, so you're adjacent to it. But anything else?
I have gone in, so I can't really. I don't think I can back out enough to not be within its tail strike range, right?
You could get just outside of its range. Its tail strike range is like a 10-foot circle, so depending on how far you were trying to move, I think you would be able to just get back out.
Okay.
It would have an attack opportunity against you, obviously, but
that is fine because that is not all that relevant to me. So I would walk out.
22.
It is prone. Does that put it at disadvantage?
You are right. I think it is at disadvantage. Does 15 miss?
It does not.
Okay. Okay. In which case, you still take 6 points of damage as it lashes out with one of these claws.
Okay. And once I am like 15 foot out of range, I am still. Actually, no. Before I leave entirely, I would have just punch down on the weakened ankle just once more, because my action was essentially using my feet. So my bonus action, I'm just gonna use my arms and then move off.
Okay.
Essentially, I try to. Actually, I'm not punching. I'm essentially looking for one of the loose plates. I'm just trying to rip that off forcefully.
Okay, so attacking at the point before you pulled away, technically. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Roll for the attack.
Sooner I clicked.
We'll see if it comes through from the internet.
I mean, it might not have. You can click for me.
Give me 1 second to bring you up again. It's not letting me open your sheet. There we go. And it's sooner. I guess it doesn't technically matter, but. Your number came through. 21 would hit, and you're trying to break a plate, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're down to 5 damage reduction as you push it over and then kick one of its underplatings from like its leg out, and it spins across the battlefield, careening across the surface of the chamber. It is Axel's turn. What was he going to do? I think... I think he's just gonna put a bonus action healing word into Dafer. So that's 5 points of shell energy you get restored, Dafer. Caliban.
You said it was preparing to do a sweep attack
It
again.
was, but Dafer just knocked it on its ass, so it can't do a sweep attack next turn. It is also prone at present.
Quickly taking a look. What is the most vulnerable spot that I could see?
Probably somewhere near like the neck area, or maybe the exposed chest as well.
Aiming for the neck. Let's go.
Go for it. You have advantage, of course. 16 hits. 7 reduced by 5 is 2 points of damage that will go through as you barely scratch across the surface.
Oh well. Okay, that's fine.
Anything else, Caliban?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. Adhera.
Adhera is going to crouch down low and sprint forward, swing her scythe in melee in a circle around her. I will make an attack and expend a teamwork point to call on Uther.
Both of you attacking with advantage at this point as it is prone. 22 does hit, and you have your Thunderous Smite as well. 24 does hit as well, Uther.
Jesus Christ.
And I assume you were going for damage, not a plate. Yeah.
Correct.
Adhera. Okay. So that is 16 points of damage that does go through to the Ceratosaurus. Your scythe, like, basically rending through the neck area, ripping through a good section of it. Uther, also, I assume you were going for damage, not a plate?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's another 5, so that's another 20 points of damage. As the two of you come in together, striking the exact same point within seconds of each other, first Adhera sort of like opens it up with this thunderous blast of energy, and then Uther, your huge heavy blade swings in. You like almost behead this thing. It goes from looking pretty good to across the line of bloodied and then some, lead on the ground, this purplish, brackish liquid spurting everywhere, and you can see the innards of the magic monster as you've just cut through the actual shell on the outside. Anything else you want to try and do, Tira?
I will spend a spirit point to do flurry of blows as I start lashing out with kicks.
Yeah, go for it.
First one.
19 hits. Damage or plate?
Plate.
I think you did roll for damage first, so I'm going to take that as damage. It is reduced to 0 as the plating is still too heavy to get through at this point, Adhera.
Alright, second strike.
17 would hit.
Plate.
Okay. Reduces damage reduction as it's on the ground. Do you want to, like, are you kicking the plate off? Are you grabbing it and ripping it off? Are you, like, leveraging it off with the scythe, or?
I'm kicking it off because I believe that's like the best amount of strength she can get.
Yeah.
Sort of do a big roundhouse kick and then push off the tip of the plate.
Yeah, you manage to just whack the plate in the right spot to pop it off and then bring your leg around to sweep it away.
Alright, and then she will back up. And that is her turn.
Uther, it is down.
Looks like you really do gotta pop out and show him.
I'm gonna whack it again.
Go for it.
Advantage. Shit.
15 just misses, I'm afraid. It is in a panic, Uther, as you swing your blade into that same position. It covers itself up. You've got the D4. You've got another D4, Uther.
Is that not being factored?
It doesn't
It's
seem
not
like
being-
it.
I have it picked.
That
17 would hit.
That will hit. It has 4 damage reduction at the moment. I don't know whether you'd like to go through. I know you have your sneak, so.
Do I think another funny hit like what I done last time would do it in, or do I
No,
think
it would bring it much, much closer, but it would take another 2, maybe 3 of those impacts, you think, Uther, to bring it down for good. You would put it within potential killing range if you roll well, I'll say that.
What do we think? Reduce it or try to just knock through the shield?
What you could do is reduce it, and then we could teamwork it immediately after, because my turn's next, and I have a point.
That'll work. I'll reduce.
Okay, Uther, how do you want to leverage another one of these plates off to bring its damage reduction down to 3?
Just, you know when you're scaling a fish?
Yes.
Basically just swiping down the side of this thing, just hitting as many plates as he can with the blade.
Okay, you scrape as much of the plating off as possible.
And, that will... it's still prone, it's not going to stand up. Okay, yeah, then, yeah, I'm just going to call it here.
Okay, Clara.
I make a very bold play here in an attempt to try and kill it off in this one attack. I'm gonna spend my bonus action to... I don't know why I take a cunning action. Spend my bonus action to steady aim, because I forgot I could do that.
That should be a cunning action.
Yeah, I completely forgot that this is something I could do.
So it obviously had advantage because it was prone, so it's a straight roll now, Clara.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna try.
Oh.
I either hit or I don't.
Oh. Straight roll, -5 to the attack, and you're calling Uther in with it, yeah?
Yep.
Cool.
If this hits, it's gonna be insane.
Sorry,
that's 10.
won't go through, no. 15 wouldn't have hit either, though, I suppose, so the gambling, in a weird way, sort of was the right move.
Yeah, it makes no difference.
Unfortunately, your shot goes wide, but Uther does get a chance with advantage at melee. 23 definitely hits Uther. It's only got 3 damage reduction at the moment.
Oof.
Unfortunately, your attack doesn't land as well as you were hoping. 8 points of damage doesn't nearly bring it as low as that first impact did, as you're unable to find the point you attacked before.
That's just how it rolls. Can't do nothing else to it.
Clara, still technically your turn. Is there anything you want to do?
I don't think there's anything that is worth doing, so I'm gonna say no.
It is its turn. It will spend half its movement to stand up, and it's going to strike the 3 people around it, Uther, and then around again. That would be is it a disadvantage, Dave? I can't remember if you hit it. Thank you. So 11 damage misses Uther. 11 versus AC, 10 versus AC, 17 versus AC, Caliban?
Let me see.
I assume
nope.
that misses.
Okay. Doesn't.
In which case, all 3 attacks unable to get through at their targets. You are all still unscathed. Dafer, back to you.
I see it has stood up. That displeases me, as I like this enemy groveling on the ground where it does not actually hurt quite as much. As such, I would like to repeat. My action, having seen it succeed fairly well so far. I hope Clara can forgive me.
Once again, to push it over, yeah.
Essentially, once again, I ram into it and just... I think this time I'm... I was like, is this thing huge, or...
It's technically large. It is large.
Okay, so it doesn't feel too insane if I try to sweep it.
Like, almost like pick its legs up and then like slam it into the ground, or are you like just trying to?
that
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense.
So you like go in, put your arms around one leg, and then lift it and try and topple it that way as you bring your shoulder into it as well. Yeah.
I don't think quite lift it, and more put it in a weird angle, because there's no way
Gotcha.
I'm strong enough to actually lift it. I do not have those kinds of muscles.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so it has disadvantage from Hex still. I still rolled a 19 on the die, but you've got advantage on your side.
Yeah,
17.
Oh.
that's wrong.
This time, as you grab hold of the leg, it's sort of gotten used to you coming in for that same place, manages to interject the tail between the two of you, and uses that as some leverage to sort of spring you off and push you back.
Okay. However, I still have a bonus action. Strictly speaking, this is an attack part of an attack, right?
Yes, you're
I
correct.
could attempt again.
Yes, you can, as a bonus action, use a modified attack action to try and push it over again if you want. If you want to go for the other leg or something like that.
The alternative that does, however, mean that nobody gets protection this time.
Yes.
But I trust my teammates, and with the leveraged combo attack, I believe we can do this. So I will try to. I think it goes like this. It tries to spin me away with the tail, but I grabbed onto the tail, and I'm just like, oh!
You're like trying to plan and swing it to like pull it off of kilter, basically.
I think I just let go at some absolutely brain dead lucky point, and the momentum it propels me into is just right into its other leg.
All right. Another athletics at disadvantage for me due to Hex. I rolled a 17 this time.
17.
17 meet it to beat it, which means it's on the defensive. You do just about, with that extra momentum from the tail and a little bit of blind luck, manage to get it to topple over. Who do you want to give a teamwork point to?
I'm giving a teamwork point to Caliban, actually. I think I haven't done so before.
Yeah.
So I coupled it right next to him.
Perfect. It is prone at Caliban's feet, and Caliban, you can call in an ally with your attack on your turn should you wish. Dafer, are you happy where you are, or are you trying to move away?
I am happy where I am. I would like to note, everybody, it has no longer disadvantage against me.
Okay. It is...
I don't think this counted as a hit in an attack.
It is Axel's turn. I think he's going to take the disengage action, and he's going to stand back. Caliban.
How much have we sufficiently reduced the
Its plating is down to 3 at this point, so it's got 3 damage reduction on all attacks against it. Yeah, so if you hit it, you can either reduce it to 2 or deal damage, and you can call an ally in with your attack if you wish, Caliban.
I'm gonna expend a superiority die
Yes.
to use fainting attack and use the teamwork to call an Uther.
Fainting, does that just give you advantage, or does it also boost your damage?
So what it does is it gives me advantage on my attack roll, and also my damage is added. I add my superiority die to damage.
It is prone, so you will just be getting extra damage from the superiority die, but that's all I'll say.
I'm just doing it for the damage.
Yeah, that's fine. Perfect. Cool.
Okay. Alright. Let me roll my superiority die first.
Yeah, let's see how much extra damage will go through if you hit. Extra 2 points of damage. Basically negating the plating at that point.
And
22 hits.
can we get Uther?
An Uther attack in with you as well. Yeah. 17 hits as well. 9 damage does go through from you, Caliban. 17 hits, Uther.
Wait, wouldn't it? Wait, you said the 2 would have.
Basically, oh sorry, yeah, it's 10 damage. It's 10 damage. Give me 1 second.
The nature of sneak attacks.
And then you're also going through, so that's 10 damage from you as well, Uther. It could not take another hit like that. You guys have almost brought it down. Caliban, is there anything else on your turn as you toppled this thing? It's just about hanging in there.
Nope. I'll let whoever hits next do the honors
Atira.
if they can bring it down.
Yeah, she's just gonna rush in with her scythe. Swinging once.
19 hits. So that is reduced by 3, which brings us to 5 damage. It is a single thread Adhira in front of you, desperate to kill every last one of you. It does not care that it's on its last thread of life. It's still trying to tear you apart, Adhira. What do you want to do?
I'm going to make unarmed strikes, flurry of blows.
First attack. Natural 20.
Oh, an Orby acid.
As a group right now, do you want to describe to me how in this moment you all bring it down together? Is that, do you guys have like an image in your head maybe as to what you do to bring a part of this down?
Caliban has speared it through the neck, pinning it in place.
So Caliban, you dart forward, blade through the neck, pin it down into the ground, holding it in place.
Locking down one of the arms.
Uther, do you mean like holding it, or like do you want to wedge the blade up and just like
wedging it with my sword, just like sword in ground, leveraging like whole body weight against one of this thing's arms to keep it out of the way.
So it's lead on the ground. We've got Caliban's like blade through the neck, pinning it down, and then Uther is opening up its arm, so it's kind of exposed from the neck all the way down, lead on the ground right now.
I believe its feet might be trying to find perches all the time, and with slow, deliberate attacks, like as Dafer does attack, he would, like, with every strike, like a hammer, try to, more or less, sometimes hitting, sometimes not, try to keep it from finding balance with its feet, keeping it off.
Every time it tries to get some sort of purchase in order to pull away from Uther and Caliban's pin that they have on it, Dayfro, you just punch the leg away or otherwise like knock the inside of the knee to keep it from actually getting any ground. Adhira, Clara, how do you want to add to that?
I think I'm gonna underarm toss the chakram to cut its tail off, because that's the only thing that we have left that's not being dealt with.
It like brings its tail up like it's gonna lash out at Dayfro. All the wounds from the other attacks leaving it kind of threadbare already. The chakram comes out and slices through as the tail impacts into the ground, falling free. Adhira, how do you want to finish off?
Having taken a step back as all my teammates find their points of weakness, I spin the scythe once and then rush forward to just cleave open its exposure.
Absolutely. You bring the scythe in, wedge it deep into one of the exposed areas where your teammates have torn the plating away, and do you want to do like the over-the-shoulder turn, pull it up, or are you like just wedging it up, like anchoring?
Over the shoulder pull up is very inspired.
So you slam the blade in, put your back against it, and use yourself as the axle, and then just whoosh, pull the blade up as it exposes the inner core of the miasmic monster, wrenching through it and killing it once and for all. In this moment, you see sections of this creature, the already sort of damaged areas, especially the most like heavily impacted area at the end there by Adhira Scythe, begin to turn into small little metallic flakes that peel off and drift down to the ground. Axel nods, says, "Good work. You've managed to get a grip on sort of the rhythm of how these fights need to go. Dafer, excellent work on spotting its weak point and bringing it down, and the rest of you, good work on capitalizing it. He asks you to sort of stand away from it, brings a hand up, and he will use a crystal to cast Fireball, flash fusing the metallic sections of its body to itself, welding it into sort of an instant lump in order to stop it flaking around the room too much. At which point a group of people come in to sort of push it back onto the central platform and wheel it away for disposal. He will say it is useful to keep such a spell on hand in order to deal with any bodies, but if you're out on the border of the Zemesian Wastes anyway, better to keep the magic for yourself. Just try and keep it in mind if you're in a heavily populated area or away from a marquee field or so on and so forth. It will help the local environment quite a bit if you can fuse the corpse and then tag it for retrieval with the logistics staff that may or may not be on hand with you at the time.
Does it have to be magical fire? Will any sufficient flame work?
Any sufficient flame will work, but obviously if you don't have time to stop and set up a bonfire, informing the locals of where the bodies might be so that they can deal with the disposal is also viable as well. They can then send for members of Empress City to extract the fused corpses in order to either deposit them in the wastes or pass them through a marquee field which will destroy them forevermore. How did that feel, your first combat against one of these creatures? Was it as you expected, worse, easier?
Honestly, easier than expected.
Well, you did have me taking a fair amount of the punishment, so don't get too overconfident, but you did well.
I think if that tail had hit me, it would have broke every bone in my body.
It does have a very heavy attack. Seeing when certain creatures are going to unleash certain things, working out their tells would be as much a part of your training as anything else. But so far, I would say you've done well. You have the rest of the day in order to consider what you've learned here. You feel free to spar if you need to, or otherwise ask me any questions you want. Normally tomorrow would be your free day, but instead I'm afraid you'll be helping me. I've been instructed to assist an investigator. They are looking into reports of a criminal element that is beginning to pop up in our district here in I2. I've been informed that some plain-clothed teenagers would actually assist in the investigation. That means, unfortunately, Dafer, you must leave your greaves and otherwise behind. Those of you who have some subtler weapons, you can keep them on yourself if you wish, but it would be easier if you were less identifiable as students of East Academy.
Clara's gonna raise her hand.
Yes?
I don't want to be awkward about it. Two of us are quite well known. Surely they'll know we're students anyway.
I assume
Guys' time.
you're probably better known by name than appearance at the very least. I admit Caliban has an air about them, and to some degree so do you, Clara, but I'm sure you can act a part, if nothing else.
As long as you don't think it'll be a problem.
If it is a problem, we'll find out, won't we? That's a part of trying these things out. And besides, I'm mostly doing this as a favor. It doesn't have to go well.
Understood.
You see a fairly worried look coming across Dafer's features, as so far he has always prided a vast amount of what he managed to survive on this lifeline that is his runes that he now no longer has access to. So, we have until tomorrow, you say?
You have until tomorrow at noon. You'll meet me at the academy gates, and then we'll be heading into the southern section of I-2. Used to be known as the factory district, but is now known as the soot stacks.
Okay. Like, visibly nervous, I'll look at what I can scrunch up until then.
And if you need any assistance, let me know, but there are places you can buy things not far from the academy, and if you wish to, you don't have to spend all day sparring. You want to go shop for anything that you require, feel free to leave academy grounds and do so.
Priority time at the workshop might be relevant, particularly at the engraving machines. That would be appreciated. As well as some access, primary access to ink materials. I'll need to hurry, I think.
He shrugs and waves a hand and says, feel free, the workshop students will probably try and grab you for something else, but try and keep on track.
Yes. Okay.
If there's nothing else, I'll be going.
How, out of curiosity, how tired does he look?
Very.
One thing, if you don't mind me saying.
Speak.
I think you need to rest more than we do.
Where do you think
Look
I'm
rough,
going?
teacher.
I may as well sleep while I can.
Good luck with that, then.
Nuts. Leads you to the door, which opens up and will lead you back to the elevator, which he kind of pulls the lever for. You watch him fall asleep stood up next to the lever sort of panel, just leans against it and gone, asleep.
God, I wish that was me. I cannot sleep like that. Ugh.
So what now?
Any of you recall where you might get access to ore materials or metal plates or anything of the like? I might have to rush off. I'm sorry, I likely can't do any sparring today.
I assume the workshop would have all that stuff, unless it's like a premium material, right?
Yeah, you should be able
In
to
which
get it.
case, even if it's not in the workshop, you might be able to find it in the requisition hall. They had a lot of things there.
In that case, I believe I should be off. Uther, if you can spare the time, I'd appreciate it. I think I might appreciate every help I can. This throws puts a wrench into a lot of my battle strategies. Oh. Okay.
Alright, let's go then.
Alright. Uther and Dather head off towards the workshop. What of the rest of you?
The other classes are in the middle of classes, correct?
Yeah. As you're heading up and you head out, you can see there are mock battles between Year 2 and Year 3 classes going on right now. You can see that some people are engaged in what appears to be a combat exercise with military forces from the 3Ts. Essentially a modified version of paintball or something like that, where the military is trying to tag one of the third-year students. Yeah, there's a bunch of activity going on once you get out onto the campus, you notice right now.
So Andres is probably tied up with something.
Something somewhere, yeah. If you looked around, you might be able to find their class in whatever training they're in.
I was gonna try and steal him away into the city. Well, I don't think that's gonna work out. I'm gonna go to the gardening club and start trying to, tend to some of the other students' flowers, familiarize myself with the variety of new breeds and all that.
Yeah, I do. You head off towards the flower garden. You're probably the only person there right now. You can hear the distant sounds of combat as you're looking through the flowers and making sure that they're all okay. Uh,
Sweet solitude.
Clara and Caliban, anything from you two?
Nothing really comes to mind.
No?
Not off the top of my head.
You want to go? You
I
can
need
always go
what
on-
amounts to, like, I was gonna say a shooting range, but obviously I don't have bullets. Like a trading
Oh.
dummy somewhere?
Mhm.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. I'm a shooting range. You have my attention.
Something where I can just, like, throw my weapon repeatedly without injuring another human being.
Yeah, there are definitely target practice areas, be it a...
That's what I was...
Yeah.
There was a term, I was like, I know what it is. I can't remember what it is. Target practice, that's what I need.
Okay, I'll go with Clara on that.
Yeah. Caliban and Clara to the target practice area. And Clara, you're throwing the it's not a knife, is it? It's a chakram.
It's a chakram, yeah.
So you're throwing that at like either just like a target on a wall or maybe a dummy, something like that. I don't know if you're practicing anything in particular.
I am. If at all possible, I would like to lie a dummy flat on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have discovered that I am not very good at hitting things that are on the floor.
So you want to like practice underarm throwing with the chakram to like go up and then down onto it or something like that.
Pretty much, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
that fight has made Clara, I think, realize in quite a potentially melee-heavy team, things being prone is great for them and currently makes her a liability.
Yeah, absolutely. Caliban, you watch as like Clara walks out into the middle of one of these like firing range things, lays the dummy down, comes back, and then starts like throwing in arcs, trying to get these hits on the down dummy. Essentially, at this point, I don't know, Caliban,
Well,
if there's anything particular you'd like to do.
I would like to ask Clara. I'd like toss one of her. She uses chakrams, right?
It's one big one.
I'm gonna test something real quick. Toss your chakram up into the air.
How high?
How high can you throw?
What is Clara's strength? 8. Like, a reasonable bit. It's designed for throwing. I mean, she can throw it 100 feet. So, like, it can go pretty high.
Can you make it come back to you?
Yeah, it generally does. It's like a boomerang, I guess is the best way to describe how it functions, really.
Mm-hmm.
So I want her to throw it, and I'm gonna wait until it. And if she does throw it, I'm just gonna wait until it curves back around towards her.
Yeah, I'll toss it up for you.
Arcs through the air, Caliban.
Right as it arcs, I want to shoot it out of the sky.
You want
Or
What's the purpose? Oh, just to practice your...
yeah, just to practice mine.
Jesus, make the attack roll. 13, I think would hit it, but not knock it off enough on course that it wouldn't return to Clara, so it like bullet ricochets off of the metal edge.
Incredible.
She whirls around. Well, if I'd have known that's what you were going to do, I would have told you to stop wasting your time.
Hey, some of us need to practice as well.
Then practice. One of us is
Yeah.
concerned with not being a liability, and it appears that you're concerned with making yourself look good in your own eyes, again.
Why would I look good in my eyes? I already am good.
If there was somewhere else to go and practice, I would. I'm not sure why everyone thinks you're so amazing.
I don't need them to think I'm amazing.
Then why? What's the purpose in just showing off all the time?
I'm already doing what I need to do. Why not make it fun?
Great. Let's hope one day your fun doesn't get one of us killed.
Don't worry, if it gets me killed, you get to say I told you so.
And deal with the grief afterwards. Did you grow up ever thinking of another person?
I don't think there were any other people when I was growing up. But hey, that's just me.
You can take this however you want. You're the type of person that makes me embarrassed to be called noble.
That makes two of us.
And do something about it, Calvin.
Alright.
Great. Let me know when you figure it out, I guess.
Caliban, as you stand there and ponder that, Clara, you continue to practice. Dafer, you're looking for metals to kind of quickly replace some of your equipment, or at least like keep some of your features without your gauntlets on hand. Is that the case?
Yeah, essentially. I'm giving up any kind of hope of getting any kind of adequate replacement. So I'm just looking into either making some kind of staff or club, like nothing that even mecha shifts. I'm just trying to go for roughly somewhat inconspicuous, and maybe even the tonfa. Tonfa are pretty inconspicuous.
Yeah, I would think tonfa you could get away with.
Yeah, and just try to engrave something in it that can like reduce my hurt when getting stabbed.
And Uther, you're assisting Dafer in creating this temporary weapon. Okay. In which case, one of you give me Arcana at advantage, I think, in this one.
I might. Do you have it?
Good. I think I do. Let me find my own sheet again. I need to fairly regularly reload that page. I do have it, yes.
Yeah. Give me Arcana.
Do we want to play the modifier shuffle, or do you want to just roll it?
No, I think it makes sense for me to roll it simply because I am the one coming up with the design and just taking you for like hints, or where you see I am making mistakes, or where you have improvement ideas, and so on. But I would see myself as the driving force there.
Alright, then. Roll away.
19.
Yeah, so you managed to create a tonfa that will allow you to do your overload. It will allow you to reduce the damage and to redirect attacks, but you won't have your advantage on strength checks while using the tonfa, basically.
Is this something in terms of durability of this? Does the tonfa actually have any kind of durability on this, or does this put strain on the tonfa?
No, I think
the
tonfa would be still very durable. The issue you'd have is you couldn't use this and your gauntlets at the same time. It would be two different redirections. It would take energy away from both and render both pointless, basically. So this is just like it purely is a more defensive tool, but in that nature, it's reinforced. So if you hit someone with it, it's not gonna break.
Okay.
While we're fiddling, is there any way we can slot in any of those amber shards he was using?
Yeah, if you want to talk to some of the workshop kids there, they might be able to help you with it. Up to you, Dafer, whether you think it's worth it to add the ambaric shard to the tonfa, or whether you just like keep it for use another time, or...
No, I think like I feel like this ambaric card is getting used. I can't into English, and this might give me more experience with ambaric shards in general, which might be useful for guy that gave me the ambaric shard last time, whose name I'm currently not having in mind, but I would seek him out because he gave me.
Yeah, so finding Dylan.
Dylan.
He thinks for a bit, and then he says, so the peacekeeping forces, they use a sort of baton that produces a constant shock between two pins. interestingly enough, that works by putting a metal rod through the shard. The shard's never broken. The rod acts to direct a certain amount of electricity through it at a time. I have some examples here. What I might be able to do is take this piece apart, this working example, and slot it into what you've designed here, and hopefully it can do some of what the shock batons can do. If you'd like me to try.
Certainly. I think I have I think if this goes bad, I now have an idea of what I want to make. I don't need to whip up the concept, so I think I could recreate one if I strain myself over the night.
Okay.
So if it breaks, I can make it back up?
Yeah. He with your assistance, the three of you work together. He manages to rig up your Tonfa. It deals 1d6 damage as a Tonfa. It can either deal bludgeoning or lightning damage now.
Okay. Okay.
I will also count this as progress towards the Ambaric Smites, because you guys have worked out a little bit about the use of how to kind of create a more constant charge from it, as opposed to just a burst of energy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. In terms of features, you noted I have the damage reduction and the redirecting attacks, but not the advantage on strength. I assume I also don't have the additional overload damage.
Yeah, I'd say so, because that's basically going into keeping the Tonfa from breaking when you swing it.
Yep. Makes sense to me.
Okay. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, do you want to clock for practicing the chakra throws? Oh my god. That way, once the clock's filled in, you won't have disadvantage on attacking prone creatures with specifically that weapon. Is that sort of the intent?
It is for now. I imagine Clara's weapon will eventually change, but with no way to predict when that might happen, I might as well, like...
Yeah, I think I'm gonna put it over here. You have to... Is it chakra or chakram? Is it C-R-U-M? Ooh, gosh.
It's like... Ram.
Thank you, that's right. That should appear here. And I'm gonna pop 1 on the clock. That would take up, you know, the rest of your school hours to the evening, unless at Hera there was something else you wanted to do. Caliban and Clara at the shooting range, and Uther and Dafer working with Dylan. At Hera, was there anything other than the flowers that you're after?
I'm alone at the gardening club, yeah?
Yeah,
There's no
completely.
one else?
Yeah, no one else is here. All the workshop students and otherwise are also busy.
I think she spends a good while, like, passing through the rows of the different flowers and vegetables, you know, interest falling on those that she has not seen out in the desert, and pauses for a moment, turns, you know, to see that she's completely alone, and then just sort of bumps her hip to the side to shake the vessel. Hey, are you awake?
There's like a pause, and then a voice that says, "I am now. You shook my whole house."
So you do have a house in there.
It is a phrase.
Do you recall anything strange last night?
Ah, I see. We shared a dream, did we?
So that's what it was. That was your dream.
More
There's
like
two
a
of you in mine.
memory, I suppose. My mind cannot conjure such thoughts as to imaginings of faraway places or things, but I can remember.
Who were they? Oh, all those figures and the woman in the middle.
Why must you know?
That's a good question, but I would like to chalk it up to curiosity. If we are going to be around each other more, don't I have a right to know?
Name me something more dangerous than a human's curiosity, Atira.
The miasma?
I set the bar low, that's on me. I do not know the woman's name. Merely perhaps you would say a wise woman, a philosopher. She, a long time ago, just before a battle between what you call the goddess and the scourge, she came to a place where we lay in wait, ready for the approach of our enemies. She came asking questions, speaking her truths. I remember her because I suppose you could say she asked good questions. This is before I was unfairly imprisoned, of course.
Yes. Was I in your place, or did I watch that from more an outside perspective?
You watched that from my eyes. Such a spirit as I was not allowed near the front of such an auspicious gathering of spirits and beings, of course.
Do you think maybe it's because I didn't like you?
I think it's because angels are rather self-important.
So that's what they were.
Some of them.
I'd heard angels look all freaky deaky.
Freaky deaky, as you put it. They are all shapes and sizes. The one closest in the middle, the tallest of them, was Zemes themselves. We spoke once, don't you know? Me and Zemes.
And what did they have to say to you?
That's not really the important part. The important part is I spoke with the Archangel Zemes. You should be impressed.
I guess I should be, if I really knew more about them than angels. I lived a sheltered life, practically lived underneath a rock.
Well, the whole wastes are named after Zemes the Archangel. The kingdom that used to be here, very important. Your language, the High Zemesian, that's theirs too. It's a big deal.
Just because something gets named after them doesn't really tell me much about them personally.
Yeah, but it tells you how important they were, and that means that by the transient properties of a stalk, I'm important, Atira. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
I always figured you were important. You've come up with quite a few claims to your name.
Well, yes, of course. I mean, if nothing else, inventing mushrooms is by far perhaps the most important thing on this planet. I mean, imagine the cycle of life and death without mushrooms, or a risotto, perhaps.
I'm sure Dave would like you.
Oh, I'm not sure. He has some superstition about him, I believe.
All people have superstition. But I think the important thing is this woman. I've heard just a little bit out of what she spoke. She spoke my language. She asked you why you thought. Did she disagree with the fight between the goddess and the scourge?
That is a difficult question, Atira. Perhaps we could talk about it at length another time, but, well, you'll need to do a lot more growing before I can have a conversation like that with you. I'm sorry to say, but your legs only just reached the ground, and perhaps you were crawling 5 minutes ago.
Well, I'll allow that. Curiosity sated for now and all that. Get some sleep, Gramps.
Very well, child. And the voice subsides.
I will probably move to rejoin the group.
You guys have your evening ahead of you. Did you want to stay on campus? Did you want to go outside? Is there anything in particular you wanted to do that night?
Adhira personally votes for going out and eating, celebrating our victory. We worked together as a team and brought down a dinosaur. Perhaps we should, use this money that we have been given and treat ourselves.
Sam, after like Dafer would be in a high stress state until he had something to cling on to again, because like the gauntlets are like his fallback for a lot. And so after that, would I and creating the tonfa, all the like back and forth would I assume Dafer would be fairly like exhausted. Like this would have.
I would agree. Yeah, you've probably been working yourself to the bone in order to make sure it's not, if not perfect, as close as you can get it.
Yeah, something at least reliable for the mission. It doesn't need to last beyond that, but this mission it must be reliable. Okay. I'm game. You got a place in mind? If not, I can think of one.
You would know best, I suppose.
Are you okay, Clara? You sounded somewhat dejected.
I'll be fine.
Okay. If you guys like your coffee, there's a coffee lounge called Heaven and Hell. We could go there. They have a variety of food.
Rather auspicious name for a coffee shop.
It's interesting. Do any of you have a taste for sushi, crepe, or ribs?
For what?
What's sushi?
It's this one. It's rice, right? Rice. You can make rice stick together, and like put stuff on top of it and eat that. It's very bite-sized. Pretty okay, I'd say. But yeah, other than that, crepes are pretty good. I think I'm gonna go for that. Sugar. Oh, sugar.
That is a nightmarishly dissonant menu you've described.
Heaven and hell, baby.
You just discovered the Cheesecake Factory of
Of
Empress
sushi. Yeah, if you guys want to go there, you certainly can.
Might as well tag
Absolutely.
along.
Okay. For some of you, heading out into sort of the I2 area for the first time, heading out the gates, Dafer, you know where you're going, so I assume everyone's sort of following Dafer in order to get to this place. In the evening, you notice there are quite a few students out and about. Most of them seem to be heading towards a big glass and steel structure, like a big conservatory-looking thing. You can hear music coming from it. You guys sort of tuck past that a little bit. Everyone give me perception checks. Tira with an 8. Clara with a 7. I see Caliban will be right back, so I'll roll their perception check as well. You threw the 12. Is this where I find out no one took perception? Actually, Clara's got a +5. Just rolled not so great.
No, I have perception proficiency. It just sucks.
Oh, no. 14 as well. Okay. A few of you notice posters have been put up. A declaration is being put out that this weekend the first trial matches for the A ranks who are up for grabs for replacing the missing S rank slot, taking S rank 10, will begin this weekend, and basically it's the mass melee combats this weekend being held at the Colosseum all the way across the other side of the city, on the western part of the city. You can see there are matches on Saturday and Sunday that are being advertised. Others of you, you notice the above you, the floating island that used to be stationed at Heaven's Pillar has returned to the northern section of the city. So there are 3 floating artillery and infantry base islands that hover over Empress City. The one in the north has been gone for a while and has only just returned today. You also notice that quite a lot of airships have been deployed to the northeast section of the city. There's sort of a buzz of airships that join with that returning floating island. So the northeastern section of the city looks to be quite heavily reinforced at the moment, as is what you can see as you're walking the streets outside of the walls of Empress Academy. I don't know if any of that catches your attention. Otherwise, you follow Dafer straight to the restaurant, and feel free to sit down if so. At which point, you reach the restaurant, take a seat. Is it like a full-on sushi bar conveyor belt thing, Dafer, or is it more like a sit-down restaurant where you order and it gets brought to you?
It's more
vibe?
a sit down. It's fairly small. It's more of a sit down restaurant, like at a bar where you have like a fairly eccentric looking white haired man that very patiently and like kind of quirky looking takes up the order, goes into the back, does unspeakable things that you sometimes hear strange sounds of, but you don't quite know what's going on there, and then comes back out with the food after a while.
Beautifully arrayed little sushi platters, things like that, or alternatively crepes, because those are the 2 things this guy knows how to make, and that's why.
Not quite. Like he has. They have a fucking weird menu.
It's like a huge, like just a huge. It really is like the Cheesecake Factory. The menu is wild. It's just got everything in it. Like just opposites arrayed against each other along the menu, going all the way down it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I just like I have been here like once before. There's typically like it's not just him. Typically, there's also typically what one guy in perpetual sunglasses and blood red hair, very very stern looking man, and also very eccentric acting, walking around. That goes by the name of Alistair. He's typically the one that tries to get you to drink alcohol all the time, everywhere.
So Alistair is the red-haired one that is trying to get you to drink alcohol. The other guy, by the way, the white-haired guy, goes by the name of Rook. R-O-O-K.
Ah, okay. In that case, I'll adjust that because I originally named him Raphael, but you can't work with that.
No, he is Rook. I know this one.
Okay. Alistair and Rook.
Are we technically of drinking age?
That depends on how old you are. I don't actually know off the top of my head how old you are, but the drinking age here in Empress City is 17 years of age.
Okay. I'm 18, So I will absolutely treat myself to the hell part.
Yeah. Anyone
I'd
else?
I'd essentially be ordering off the menu. Like just for your reference, I made an entry about them in the location section a while ago. I'd order what's called Death's Kiss, which is like a 6-shot espresso, which
Jesus Christ.
like you must not add sugar at all. You must drink it like that. It is not allowed to add anything to it. It must be drunk pure.
So you get given what I can only describe as poison, as 6 espresso shots are put in front of you. And Atira, you got an alcoholic drink. Do you have any idea what Atira would go for? Whether it would be like a wine or like a cider sort of thing, or?
I think closer to a spirit. Yeah, cider.
Okay, so more like a fruit spirit than anything. Gotcha.
The girl who wears a death shroud is interested in spirits. Who would have guessed?
A bit more broader than that. Just another name.
Souls, then.
Souls.
Your
I don't
souls
see
are
that.
mine. Sorry, carry on.
What does anyone else order? I'd also be ordering like a crepe. Essentially.
I love how Dafer like goes from eating like protein-rich, well-balanced meals, like two drops of stress, sugar, caffeine, like goes straight into like comfort food immediately.
I
Yeah.
feel the exact same way. Let me post what I had this morning. I'll also do a crepe.
Go for it. Something sweet.
It's good. It's really good stuff. I already have it in my mouth.
Had this where I'm from.
Sweet. Very sweet. It's a fallback when you're stressed. I feel alive again.
Not for long when that caffeine kicks in.
It is currently kicking in. It is what's currently keeping me alive.
I had stepped away during after the perception checks that I see here. Well, before the perception checks. Was there
did roll for you, got 14. The 3 major things were there are posters up about the A rank EKs having matches on at the moment to find the 10th rank rank 10 S EK that will be like put forward because there is a gap at the moment. There's also a large amount of forces gathered in the northeast section of the city at the border, so maybe something's going on that direction. Those were the 2 sort of major things that were sort of seen.
Gotcha. I'm guessing. Hold on, thinking. Was there even we looked at the menu?
Yeah, you looked at the menu, it's chaos. There's everything you can imagine there. Like you said, it's Cheesecake Factory.
Essentially, Atira ordered herself some red wine, and I went for a 6-shot espresso and some crepe.
I did cider.
Did go with cider.
I'm not that fancy.
The question: what is the most boring food on the menu?
The most boring food on the menu? Or like a sandwich, I'd imagine. You could get a sandwich.
Yeah.
Caliban gets a ham sandwich.
I feel like he's pointedly looking at Clara as he eats it. Like, look, I'm a commoner.
Caliban, you get brought a sandwich. You look at it. There's like a weird outer coating to the edge of the sandwich. There's like a brown, almost like a crust or something like that goes around the edge of the bread.
God damn it.
I don't understand.
God damn it. He sort of looks at it and just like pulls off the crust. Just
Yeah.
like bites it.
you like
Can the bear not know bread crust?
so you like take a section off and what, like chew on it?
Yeah.
It's okay. It's all right.
He just sort of shrugs and just eats it. When you've and if he's getting any weird looks, he's just like, when you've already had everything under the sun, even the most boring stuff is new.
Out of curiosity, what looks does the cook give him for having ordered a ham sandwich of all things?
At present, Rook, having put that down on the table, looks around the group and says, you must be students from East Academy?
Yes.
In which case, I'll go apply the discount. We actually offer like 10% off for students of the academy, so always worth mentioning when you come in. He says.
Oh. Nice. Hmm.
We found the damn special effects menu.
Yeah, there's just colors flying everywhere.
I am going to make so much use of this.
He says, I saw what happened in the newspaper. Not anyone you know, I hope.
The newspaper.
Yeah, there was another EK death out in the... not far from here, really. Disturbingly close at the end, ultimately. But,
You don't have a copy, do you?
oh, yes, of course. And then asks you for your order.
Oh, just tea, please.
Will do. Brings you tea and then brings you a copy of the newspaper that he had himself this morning.
What?
Having not read this, I will have a quick flick through it.
Give me an investigation check, Clara.
Sure. 10.
Couple of things to note. Obviously, there's the Scarlet Hawkmoth story on the front page. Lots of dead EKs. Another one added to the list recently. Happened along the... just as the tracks exit out, like there's like a tunnel that leads away from Empress City and then it exits out into the wastes. The EK was ambushed and killed on a routine check of that entrance to the tunnel, maybe 10 miles outside of Empress City to the north. In addition to that, you notice an article about an attack on a grain silo that was supposed to be emptied into a train shipment and brought to Empress City up in Trismere. But there is evidence that the attackers on the grain silos had used shells, and there is some speculation as to whether they are part of a group of Empress Knights who have essentially defected from Empress City and formed a mercenary group.
I'm gonna slide that article across the table to David. I can't believe they'd take out your bread like this.
Oh. I mean, I hope it doesn't affect us. We still should have flour. I think. I'm mildly besides myself. I'm just. I mean, it sucks that there's Empress Knights that do this kind of thing. I wonder why.
No, I think that's a presumption at the moment. They could just be people with shells.
Can you get shells if you're not an Empress Knight? Forgive me for not knowing. I'm not that aware.
I've not heard of it, but the technology's used fairly wildly. Surely there'd be
Oh,
someone
right.
who could reverse engineer one.
Right. No. We have them in our village. So and I had mine before I arrived. So yeah, there must be. So what am I talking about? Yeah. In that case, but if they, I guess it might make sense to keep an eye on that. If that's a repeating pattern, that might signify some kind of more planned attack. But yeah, other than that, I don't know what to say about this. It seems more like a not our problem so far kind of issue.
I'm curious if the library's going to have back issues of the paper.
Caliban, you've actually been to the library. You would have seen they do have archives of the Empress Herald in particular, which is the newspaper you're reading right now.
I see.
I'm just curious because I point at the article about the moth attack, and I wonder if there's a pattern there. If it's just that tunnel, or if it's multiple tunnels.
From
Or
like
random.
looking at the article a little bit more, Uther, you can see that the Scarlet Hawk Moth, it's reported to ambush Empress Knights. It utilizes radiant magics, so like it essentially can cast divine magic, which it apparently copied from a dead EK, presumably something it fought and barely survived and took the skills of, called Bright Dawn.
Yeesh.
So even before it was a divergent Miasmic monster, it had fought and killed one A-rank Empress Knight.
Does anyone know what it's weak to? Or if it has any weaknesses?
There's some speculation in the newspaper, but from what you can see, Atira, that basically no, because no one survives. There's the only reason people know about it is because of the use of magics to sort of scry into or otherwise investigate the attacks, and nothing else.
I mean, if it's taken that much divine energy into it, surely it's got a necrotic weakness, right?
That's one of the presumptions in the newspaper.
Just kind of looks around the table, shrugs, goes back to eating whatever you ordered.
That's not much of a help. I mean, how would you even deal necrotic damage?
A few spells. Necromancy.
I guess never considered that one because it's not all that much applicable to what I do.
I'm sure there's something you can get to make a weapon apply necrotic.
Local
I mean,
hex
I'm not aware of
casting.
anything.
What was that?
Local man with hex crystal.
Oh yeah.
I was more meaning like a material, not
Yeah, like a weapon that deals necrotic as opposed to... Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I feel like I might not want to think about this soon. It's not like we can do anything about it. For the most part, Excel's advice.
Use them to make hand wraps.
For the most part, Excel's advice boiled down to if you see it, run. If you can, that is.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's what the paper's saying, and we are nowhere near qualified to fight that thing.
Yeah. I wonder how high up in the totem pole the Ceratosaurus ranks. Given that we were given it to fight, I can't assume that high.
I'm going to turn and look at Clara.
Clara, if you want to, you can give me an animal handling check.
I'm never gonna turn one of those down.
13. The only thing you'd say, Clara, is you know they're supposed to work in packs, so the fact you only fought one is somewhat telling to you, I'd imagine.
One by itself isn't that big a deal. They come in groups.
Groups of 2, groups of 3, groups of a dozen?
Like a pack. Like, let's conservatively say 4 to 8.
Oh god, that would have absolutely destroyed us and eaten us for breakfast, and we wouldn't even have been filling.
Hence why we fought 1 and not 8, I suppose.
Oh, I can feel the espresso kicking in. Oh, this feels nice.
You will not get to sleep tonight. You have doomed yourself.
You would be surprised. I have not drunk more intensive shit, but approaching. This is vile, but it's a good vile.
Just leaning away from that. Just
As the 6th shot goes down.
I mean, have you not drunk any other? Wait, is caffeine there? Is coffee the only thing pushing you up that you have ever drunk before? There's like a ton of different beverages out there. You can all try them.
I am
Pretty good.
not a coffee
Solid.
person.
Oh, you're missing out.
On bitter water. No.
Oh my. What have
One-
you guys been up to, by the way? Yep.
Sorry, I was just saying, once you guys are done, the bill would come. It's 5 gold a head, basically. 5 gold per person in the end, after the discount.
Nice.
Check. Oh. Bumps me down to 74. So, you guys feeling prepared for tomorrow?
Oh.
Nope.
That's right, we're investigating crime, apparently.
Yeah, you never thought that would be on my list of things. I mean,
If I may speak honestly, I'm not sure how I feel being who I am, investigating what this is.
What is?
notably very innocently, in a sense that makes you realize that he does not know the social circumstances. What do you mean?
Well, for lack of a better term, I am a minority.
So?
I think we all are, technically speaking. Looks
She's a
at
thief.
everyone but Caliban.
What do you mean she's a thief? No.
I mean this as non-derogatorily as I possibly can. But I'm assuming that's what we're talking about.
Where I am from, I have had to. She stops looking for the right word, adapt to my situation on the streets, and used whatever opportunity I could find. And I will not deny, I've used that to get a good deal of good little things. Though I'm just not happy about, well, how much this could benefit me in looking for others. Here in Empress, I've received word from another person, from Laments, that we're a bit of a second-class citizen. We have hardships, and I don't doubt that many from where I'm from have had to turn to crime.
If it makes you feel any better, I think the only one of us who would be counted as first class around here is Caliban. We're all foreigners here.
She takes a sip from her cider. That is a bit of a reassuring thought.
Also, we're not representing anyone, we're doing a favor. Well, we're not even doing a favor. Axel's doing a favor, we're just required to be there.
So, if you say you have stolen, that was purely out of necessity, so it's no longer something that you're
Oh
required,
no,
that you need to do,
I've
right?
absolutely stolen before for my own gain. It's just when you add a little bit of, you know.
He's trying to give you it out here. Quit digging. Put down the shovel.
You see, this very much does not well track with Dafer's mindset, given it's typically very much you're all in this together. So acting in a non-fitting manner to that does not track, because that means death.
Just when you add the added layer of social issues and Empress City at large, does it feel a little off and weird?
But you have to have each other's backs. So what I don't think I quite have. I might need to read into this a little bit more.
It's cute watching you flounder around.
I guess this is part of living in the big cities. People are more out for themselves. Is this it? Is this what you're supposed to expect from everybody?
I don't know.
From what little I gather, I have a feeling this is more of excruciating circumstances of the area. Correct?
I think Uther has the right of it.
As you guys are talking, Rook comes over, gestures at the light fading outside, says, "You'll want to be back before too late. They'll close up the gates. I've seen a few students hop the walls, but if they get caught, they're quite reprimanded."
Might make sense to not make that a habit at the second day of school.
If you do hop the walls, he taps his nose and says, "Best to do it on the east side."
Appreciate it.
Nods.
Luther pulls a small note tablet out of his pocket, writes that down, back into his pocket it goes.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to break curfew on the second day. That's a third day thing.
I think it is the third day.
It is the third day.
Well,
Caliban sits right back down.
Come on, get up. Let's.
I'm imagining
We're all
Dafer
used to
lifting
enough with tomorrow.
Dafer lifting Caliban, but the whole chair. You know, just like lifting the chair with Caliban on it to the door and like tipping him out.
hold on. This is how I imagine that like Dafer is just like lifting him out. Just gonna post in Empress City.
Like a cat. This is a really long boy noble.
Do you think if we give him like a ribbon, he could just entertain himself?
Give me a gun, I'll entertain myself.
You've got a
You
gun.
have a gun.
Making your way back, the city doesn't really sleep. It gets a little quieter here in I2, but still, like, a different shift of people are waking up. It's got like there are more like Victorian gas lamps than anything else, like little gas lamp lights coming on. Some locations do have crystalline lighting sources that gives a odd purple bluish hue to everything, but don't require lighting. These are usually higher up on some of the buildings and sort of cast down on areas. So you've got a weird mixture of like red flame light from gas lamps and then these blue hues from above that mix in a purple haze that kind of exists up at a certain layer above the city, which is then further accentuated by starlight coming through the purple marquee field that surrounds the city. So you've got pinpricks of purple hue starlight with a weird aurora of purple and red and blue light that begins to fill the streets. Making your way back, you eventually come to the gate. You know, like 10-20 minutes before it's closed up. There are some guard staff here that are sort of checking IDs as you head in. Obviously you've got your student IDs on you, so no problem there. Heading back in, I'd say it's probably close to like 9-10 o'clock at night. I don't know if you guys were just going to get some sleep. You don't technically have to be up till noon, but if you wanted to do something with your morning, I guess now is a good time to head to bed.
Yeah, this was a full day. I think bed it is.
Heading...
I
Go on.
think...
Sorry, go,
I
Dave.
think Dayfair would head into the library a little bit. And he's not the most read up on the history of what or the general location or like any kind of information on what goes on in the Lamentic Sands and the cities there and so on.
Yeah, okay. You spend your evening
Try
reading
to read up a little bit.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I think I would also be at the library too.
Yeah, go ahead. What are you reading?
Though I would see Dayfer and ask him what he's doing.
I mean, I noticed that apparently I'm lacking some cultural context, so I'm reading up a little bit on the situations in regions other than just Dual the Cop.
Hold on. Can I look at the book that he's reading, and would I find it? Would there be like a better book that would be suited for the task at hand?
Yeah, that absolutely would be. I guess, Dayford, do you want to give me an investigation check with advantage with Caliban's help in order to find a good book to read this evening?
I was gonna see if I could make a history check just for the
Yeah, if you want to make a history check as well, Caliban. Okay.
Oh wow.
The two of you working together do find a book. So the book that Dayfer is going to read was a little like dry, kind of like and then this and then this and then this. The two of you managed to pick out a book that gives a little bit like more of a context as to its current situation with a view from how it got there and how it's been influenced by Empress City. Dayfer, the main things you come away with from reading that evening is Lament Sand has been protected from outside influences by the harshness of its environment, but at the same time, the harshness of its environment and the closed off underground nature of its cities means that there is always a limited space and that anyone living in a city is taking a spot away from someone else living there. And that has created a very have not, very eager to keep your position sort of society in that sense, Dayfair. That's what sort of kind of clustered around certain things, especially with trade coming through Laments. A lot of money gets moved through there, which a lot of people try and get their hands on and use to secure their place there. Caliban, was there anything you were looking for in the library, or were you just reading up in the evenings?
I was just the library was just the usual hunt. Just looking for what was it? What was that thing that was attacking?
Oh, the Scarlet Hawk Moth.
And that was a
It is a miasmic monster.
okay. I'm guessing that there would have been like a bestiary within the library.
Oh, you're looking for like what it originally was, like the original sort of form of such a creature?
Or at the very least, trying to
investigate.
trying to at least deduce
Okay.
from what has been described.
Give me an investigation check with advantage, Caliban. You find a few interesting entries, some of which are they're all winged individuals. It doesn't seem to have gotten the wings that are described as part of its features from its battle with the Empress Knight. You do find a lot of references to bat miasmic monsters, like more like vampiric bat type creatures. You don't find any specific reference to like a moth itself, so that sort of leads you down a path of wondering why that name. But yeah, I don't think you get anything concrete this evening, Caliban, but you start finding some threads that you're sort of following at the moment.
I see.
Ender,
Yes.
question.
Yes, Uther.
Is the requisition hall still open?
Yeah, and it would have been just as you came in through the gate, because it would have been on your, like, right-hand side, I think.
Do they have, maps of the city?
Yes, they do. If you're looking for a map of the whole city, it's not a very detailed affair because of the sheer size of the place, Uther. So I don't know if it's like you want a map of a district, or you want like a general over a like seeing map, as it were.
General overseeing, as long as I could figure out like what's where.
Yeah, 2 gold pieces. You can buy one from the requisition store.
I'll do that.
Are you looking for something on the map, or is it something you just wanted to have?
I'm going to mark the latest attack point of the Scarlet Moth.
Yeah, so it's like a little bit outside the city technically, but still within the bounds of the map you have, actually, because the map follows the train lines as they head out of the city. It's literally like 10 miles north of the city, past the I-1 district, so further north, along the line that Adhira technically took to get here.
Interesting. And yeah, that'll just be a project for when we're not getting ready to do a stakeout type deal.
And then Adhira, did you say you were getting an early night?
Early night.
Clara, was that the same for you?
Yes, indeed.
And Dafra's at library, Uther, I assume you could have grabbed the map on the way through. Are you also early night? Okay. So, Adhira, Clara, Uther, as you walk into the dorm area, you hear 3 voices raised, a heated argument. It's a little difficult to work out who it is because you've never heard the sort of like anger that's being demonstrated from what you think might be like the gym / like dojo room. But it's definitely 3 voices, 2 female, 1 male, just yelling at each other at present.
Turn and share a look with Clara. What do you think that is?
I don't know, but either way, I'm not going to get any sleep while they're still shouting, so I'm going to go find out.
I will be not far behind.
I'm gonna head towards the gym.
Uther, are you also interested, or are you keeping away from this?
Nope.
You just walk to your room, Uther. Okay.
Walks to my room, closes the door, throws map on table, collapses.
Clara, as you get closer, the voices begin to make a little bit more sense, a little bit less muffled by the doors and the space between you. The general gist of what you're hearing is, because I knew you'd do something stupid. Listen. What happened, happened. And if you just listen to what your sister's trying to tell you, there will be a time in the future when maybe we can do something about this, but it's not right now. The response is, I just want you to feel like you can trust me with this information and not have me fly off the handle, when the third voice chimed in and says you're not doing a great job of proving that right now.
Clara's gonna open the door.
Opening the
I don't
door,
think any of you are doing a particularly good job right now.
you see Tamara and Seth arguing, and in the corner, Adhira is a girl you recognize as being the head of the gardening club, and Clara, who you bumped into briefly, is, oh gosh, I'm forgetting her first name, but the other, yes, thank you, Ashlyn, I think it is, Ashlyn Cole, as the three of them turn to look at you quite shocked. Tamara goes red, Seth, like, eyes go wide. Ashlyn kind of looks over and says, I'm sorry, we're being loud. She looks at Seth and just says, look, what Tamara did, I understand if you feel hurt, but she did it for your own good and because she cares. And as your sister, I can't fault her for that. Just, you can't do anything about it now, and you couldn't anyway, so go get some sleep. Maybe that will make you feel better. At which point Seth sort of comes up to the door and motions to sort of move past you, Clara.
She's gonna hook her arm into his. Come on, I'll walk you back.
You lead him away. Ashlyn looks at you, Adhira, and says, sorry, I didn't mean for our argument to disrupt your evening.
We were only just arrived back. Do you want to talk about it?
Tamara shakes her head and says, I've talked about it enough. And she leaves. Ashlyn looks at you here and says, just history. My brother. He lost someone close to him. And as much as Tamara was meddling, she was trying to keep him from doing something unfortunate. She walks up to you, Adhira, and puts a hand on your shoulder and says, things can get complicated, but you've got that to come. I hope not as bad as this, but yes, things will get messy at some point. Just try and keep a cool head.
I'll try my best. You get some rest now.
Will do. You as well. And then she leaves the dorm and heads back to her dorm room. Clara, walking away with Seth, as you hook your arm in his, you notice there's it's not an intangibility to his form. It's more like a delicacy, almost like the emotion is affecting his physical body. As you hook your arm in his, the skin gives way, almost like paper, and then it breaks into sand, like a dark sand that barely holds itself together and reforms back into a body. And you can see in different parts of him, this seems to be happening, this like inner turmoil made manifest in his physicality itself. He's barely holding himself together as a human being, Clara. He's quiet as you're walking. You can feel this. It's like a seething rage mixed up in a knot. But it's an intense just pain and a little bit of hate and anger, but it's not being directed anywhere. It's just everywhere right now. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything you want to say or.
This is about the newspaper, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
That moth thing. That's who hurt your friend.
He just nods. He goes to speak, but you can see the throat sort of catches, but in the end he sequesters himself to a nod.
What does that have to do with Tamara?
She hid the paper this morning. She thought if I knew it was close that I might, I don't know, go out or otherwise, I don't know, do something stupid.
And would you? Go out, I mean.
I mean, even if it was just to see the spot. We know so little about it, I want to know. I wouldn't go after it. I was there when it happened. I know how little I did then and how little I could do now.
Do you still think that even going to see it, maybe finding a track, just spying on it from a distance, do you still think that would change things?
I know it wouldn't change what happened, but it would mean it was worth something. If because of what happened, I figure it out, if I give the information that they need to them, if I do something that makes it matter, then in some strange way, yes, I will. I'll change the past by making the present something that was a product of it.
What would you think if all of that work cost you as well?
He doesn't answer your question, Claris, but I give me an insight check.
Pretty good at these. 22.
You see in his expression that he is comfortable with that cost.
Okay.
He just
Let me pitch you.
Yeah, go on.
Let me pitch you the inevitable follow-up then. How do you think everyone else would feel if that's what it cost?
His expression softens a little bit. He doesn't answer your question again, but he nods. You see the understanding on his face. I know. It's selfish. I know it's selfish. I just wish I had the choice to make a selfish decision on my own instead of... I don't know.
As a matter of fact, I think it's the opposite of selfish. What you're doing isn't really for you, it's for the benefit of other people. For someone's memory, or to save people who could yet be saved. Those things aren't selfish, but the way you're thinking about those things might be.
Seth nods. I know everyone else is right. I do. It doesn't make it any easier to follow through.
Seth, I need you to promise me something.
What?
If you ever have these thoughts again, maybe the next time something unfortunate happens in the newspaper, or the next time you think that maybe changing the future is worth sacrificing the present, come and find me first. I've dedicated most of the spare time I have to studying creatures and monsters. If you're going to go and make an admittedly ill-advised mistake for the greater good, I think we should make that mistake together. It's safer, and also things you might not be able to categorize I might. I think I would feel better.
Give me a persuasion check at advantage.
18.
Okay. If you think that would help, as long as something happens, as long as we do something to take this thing down. Yeah. Okay. I promise.
Good. Yeah, I understand. Words are sometimes just not enough. I understand that better than most people. And standing idly by, watching someone you care about not be there anymore, I know what that means. And I suppose in that way we're not so different, you and I.
You watch him take a deep breath. You see the sands of his form sort of solidify a little better. He takes an exhale out, looks at you and says, "Thanks, Clara. It's, I don't know, as horrible as this sounds, knowing someone else has felt this before, it helps."
I figured it might. And now that you're looking a little bit more like a person and a little bit less like a sand timer, you should probably get some rest.
Yeah, you as well. And then he, heads off to his room.
Clara's gonna quickly just dip back into, like, where everyone usually sits to see if anyone's still out there.
I guess.
Edgar's
Yeah, I guess so.
How did that go?
Ashlyn just decided to leave on her own, get some rest on it. How did your side go?
He's better.
What was this all about?
You read the paper. One of the girls, the victims, she was in Seth's class. So I suppose Dathan's class as well.
Prior history then.
and the feeling of not being able to do anything to save people you care about. I figured he might benefit from talking to someone who's been there.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you were able to talk to him. Ashlyn
Yeah,
gave me a warning that we'll face our own kinds of crazy and frantic.
I'm sure we'll make some bad decisions in our own time.
Well, now that it's just us girls, how are you finding all of this East Academy?
Strange. I prefer this to the other one, but I don't know. It's weird being somewhere like this. You all chose to be here, and I kind of didn't.
What do you think of the rest of our team? Any of the boys catch your eye?
Not like that. Dave is cool, but he's a little bit... He's not my type. I wouldn't like to guess what Uto hides behind closed doors. And
Yeah.
frankly, I'm just trying to be nice to Caliban for the sake of team unity, but I can't think of anything worse.
He seems the type to get under people's skin, but I don't know. I have faith in him. I feel like there must be something good beneath the stuck-up noble.
I'm sure he's a lovely person, eventually, but peeling back the veneer of stuck-up noble? Yeah. Pass.
And Hira is going to make an insight check against Clara and try to get a sense of the person she is
Okay.
in this moment.
Is there anything
That's
in
vague.
Yeah, that's pretty vague. Is there anything in particular you're trying to work out, like whether she's lying about her opinions of anyone, or whether there is a type you think she might like, or yeah, I guess, is there anything more specific in that case, Satira?
The kind of thing she values,
Okay. Yeah.
like as a person.
Give me an insight check. I think in this moment, not so much Atira. No, Clara, she seems to be being pretty honest with you, Atira, which makes it really hard for you to like read Clara, because she's not holding anything back right now in front of you.
Okay.
I will say, just from like a perspective, I don't think you necessarily needed the check to tell those things. At least not like the ones that Clara wears on her sleeve, because she's quite... I'm gonna say open, but like obviously only with certain things. So like you know from the way that she's interacted with other people that she values like dedication and like commitment to things and fairness. You're starting to get the picture of.
Definitely a favorable person. Well, today's been a day.
Personally, I'm going to bed. If we're only going out around midday, I've got some more practice I want to squeeze in the mornings.
That's a fair shout. Maybe I'll practice with you.
You can try. Please don't do a Caliban and just wind me up for the first half an hour.
What did he do?
I was practicing to be less of a liability for all of you who can poke people in the face at short range. Idiot thought it'd be funny to shoot all my practice throws out of the air.
And Hira bites down a smile. Well, don't feel too bad. I've been struggling to hit with my scythe. It just feels like I have too much strength. Everything just overshoots.
Clara gets up from her seat and starts walking towards her room. Feels like a bit of a humble brag there.
It's these shells.
Sure it is.
You all get some rest that night. At Hira, you find a note that's been kind of pushed underneath your door. Unfortunately, it's nothing salacious or fun. It is a reminder that as of next week, your Saturdays, you are to attend a medium/therapist appointment in order to conduct conversations between you and the spirit in your vessel, in order to ensure that you have a healthy relationship with your spirit moving forward.
You see her bend down to pick up the note, like big smile on her face, and when she reads it, the smile just goes to her side, like. Well,
Or did
apparently we have
somebody
couples
get
therapy on
The
Saturday
love
now.
letter.
No, whirls back around. It's just an extra class I've been asked to attend.
Oh, am I there? Sorry, that was me.
Oh, I think
Casting eye.
Dayford was like passing by after spending an evening reading, like makes the comment. I think so. I think if we get into the investigation and wake up today, I think we'll probably leave it at an awkward time. So we've been going for about 3 hours and 20 minutes or so. I think this is as good a place as any to leave off for the evening, and we'll pick up again next week with you guys helping Axel investigate some sort of criminal element within the city. Is there anything anyone wants to add before we close things down? No? Cool.
Fight more dinosaurs.
Yeah,
More
okay.
dinosaurs. Yeah.
The Black Dynamite, we're the criminal element within the city.
Go ahead and end the stream there. Thank you for watching, everyone, and catch you again next week.